Welcome, everyone, to the NoDQ.com live recap of Friday Night Smackdown for May 30th, 2025. Money in the Bank is coming up just over a week away. Shout out to everybody watching this, whether it's live or on demand. Thank you for your viewership and support. Now, let's get to SmackDown. We had a longer SmackDown than usual. They went slightly over the top of the hour. First time in a while we've gotten a USA Network overrun. Anyways, SmackDown opened with a Saturday night's main event video package recapping the show. Then we had Bianca Belair making her grand return to Knoxville, Tennessee, her hometown. She talked about having a rough couple of months, but being back in Knoxville was her safe space. She said she's not 100%, but she's doing everything to get back into the ring. And she had the crowd sing this song. I believe it's a Tennessee sports song. I think it's called Rocky Top. Pardon my ignorance when it comes to sports. Naomi interrupted, and she wanted Bianca to forgive her. Then Naomi revealed that she went to the parents of Bianca Belair's home trying to get a hold of her. She let herself in. She saw the photo album, pictures of Bianca. She said that Bianca used to be so happy. Bianca responded saying that Naomi betrayed her trust, warned Naomi to stay away from her family. And then Naomi, with a low blow here, said that she wouldn't want to see Bianca end up in a wheelchair just like Bianca's mom. That was a harsh line. But then Jade Cargill came out there. Jade wanted to fight, and that she did. She got the best of Naomi. There was a little face-off between Jade and Bianca, and then Nia Jax showed up, and that was the lead-in for our first match of the evening. Triple threat. Opening segment was solid. Bianca said she's not 100%, so maybe this was just to have her appear in front of her home crowd. We had our triple threat match. Money in the Bank qualifier. Good match here between these three. Nia got sent out of the ring early on, but then she came back in and was dominant for a while. She came off the second ropes with an avalanche leg drop to Naomi, but Naomi kicked out. Naomi and Nia were briefly working together against Jade, but then Jade fought back. Jade took down Naomi with the Jaded, but Nia broke that up. And then Nia delivered a double crossbody to both women. And then she gave Naomi a Samoan drop off the second rope, but Jade broke up the pin attempt with a top rope splash. Then they did the Tower of Doom spot in the corner, the power bomb and superplex at the same time. And then Nia destroyed Jade with the Annihilator, but then Naomi rolled up Nia and got the 1-2-3 victory. So it's Naomi who wins and advances to Money in the Bank. I'm fine with that. Of the three of them, Naomi's the best choice. You could say, well, what about Jade? But I think it's better for heels to be in Money in the Bank. No, Naomi's a good candidate to potentially win the whole thing as a heel and be the Money in the Bank contract holder. So I think it's the right call. We had a backstage segment where Solo Sikoa was mocking R-Truth, and then set up a match, JC Mateo versus R-Truth. R-Truth referred to JC Mateo as Solo's son. Then we had another backstage segment with Chelsea Green. She had a face mask on from the broken nose. and she was venting to general manager Nick Aldis. A match was set up. United States Women's Champion Zelina Vega versus Alba Fire. That was set up for later. And then we had a backstage interview with Tiffany Stratton talking about her Money in the Bank match. Naomi confronted Tiffany, and then Alexa Bliss confronted Tiffany. And Alexa said that Tiffany should be worried about her and not Naomi. We then had R-Truth versus JC Mateo, which was a very basic match, basically a squash. JC has his own music and entrance. It was fine. Not as good as Jacob Fatu's, but it was all right. R-Truth did his moves, tried to go for the AA, but could not get up JC Mateo. And then Mateo won with the Tour of the Islands Power Slam. Just a basic match to enhance JC Mateo. They continued their attack after the match, but then Jimmy Uso ran out there with a chair, and then JC attacked Jimmy as Jimmy was having words with Solo. Solo was not really happy about this because Solo was still trying to get Jimmy to come back into the fold. And I do like JC's Titantron graphic with the volcano and everything. That was kind of cool. I liked that. Music was so-so. It's hit and miss with Def Rebel. What else can I say? Speaking of Def Rebel, the awful music for the Street Profits is still in existence as the tag team champions came to the ring for a promo. They talked about how all the teams are coming from them, and now the Wyatt Six are trying to get involved, but they said they'll defend against anybody. And then we had one of these segments where Fraxium interrupted. They didn't get a fair shake. They want another match. They want to run it back. Then Motor City Machine Guns came out there, said the Street Profits never beat them. And then DIY with Candice LeRae came out there. And Ciampa said that all the other teams killed the division that they built. Then the lights ran out, or went out, I should say. Lights went out. And when they came back on, the Wyatt Six attacked everybody, beat the crap out of all the teams, and then Nikki Cross even got her hands on Candice LeRae. Nathan Frazier got laid out with the Sister Abigail. It was fine. You know, the crowd loves the Wyatt Six still, but I still feel like WWE doesn't really know what to do with them. I guess they're in the tag division now. It's something for them, I suppose. We'll see how long it lasts before WWE runs out of ideas for them again. There was also a Bray Wyatt, or not Bray Wyatt, an Uncle Howdy videotape, and Uncle Howdy just said they aren't going to stop until they get what's owed, whatever that means. We then had Los Garza, Angel, and Berto going up against Rey Fenix and Javon Evans. And this match was basically to hype up the Worlds Collide pay-per-view. At Worlds Collide, it will be the new North American champion, Ethan Page, defending his title against Rey Fenix, Javon Evans, and I'm forgetting the fourth guy's name. He's one of the AAA guys. Somebody in the chat room help me on that. Can't remember his name. But anyways, somebody will mention it in the chat room. We had a tag match here. Laredo Kid. Okay, there you go. Laredo Kid was the fourth guy from AAA. Ethan Page was out here on commentary for this one. This was Javon Evans's, I believe, first match on SmackDown. And he did pretty well here. He was bouncy, as his catchphrase would indicate. He was out there doing some cool stuff. And then the bad guys got the upper hand for a while, but then Phoenix came in with the hot tag. But then they were on the outside of the ring, and there was a stare down with Ethan Page, Paige ended up pushing Phoenix into Javon Evans. Paige got super kicked for that, but then with the Santos Escobar distraction, Paige was able to shove Javon Evans off the apron, and then Los Garza double-teamed Javon, pinned him, got the 1-2-3 victory, and they pick up some momentum. They have a match at AAA's event as well. It was good. It was good for what it was, and it was a nice little change of pace, getting Javon Evans on the show, getting Ethan Page on the show, just something different. So I enjoyed it for what it was. We then had Zelina Vega versus Alba Fire. This one was all right, but I didn't really care about it too much. I have to say, I think Chelsea Green was once again the highlight of this. Zelina Vega went for the 619, but Chelsea got on the apron, and Piper Niven tripped Zelina. And then after the commercial break, Zelina made her comeback, but missed a moonsault. And then Zelina ended up on the outside, and Chelsea tried to use her mask as a weapon, but missed and hit Piper Niven. And Zelina Vega then got the win over Alba Fire with the code red. No surprise here. I mean, obviously Zelina was winning. She picks up a victory as champion. It's fine, but I'm still having trouble really caring much about Zelina Vega at this point. I really do feel like they need to put the title on somebody else, and they do have some options, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. Shout out to Caleb Jacobs, who sent in a $2 super chat. He says it was an okay SmackDown. He did like the John Cena segment at the end. So yes, at the end of the show, we did in fact get John Cena, and we'll talk about that in a few moments. And I'll let you know if I thought it was an okay SmackDown, a good SmackDown, a bad SmackDown, or just a standard SmackDown, whatever that may be, depending on the person. We had our next segment, which was The Miz giving a pep talk to Carmelo for the triple threat Money in the Bank qualifier. But then Miz was trying to act like they were going to become Mr. Money in the Bank, and Carmelo had to make it clear that it was his talent and not Miz that brought him to the dance. Now, we had a video from Julia, who is in the Money in the Bank match, and she said that her goal is to be undisputable. Love her or hate her, you cannot deny her. Sounds like Cody Rhodes. And then there was a little brief segment where she confronted Zelina Vega, and this is what I was talking about a few moments ago. I think Julia would be a good candidate to beat Zelina for the title and build her up. And Jerry said maybe SummerSlam she gets the title. Perhaps Evolution would be the time. But I have a few opinions on Money in the Bank, but we'll talk about that when we do predictions. I'm still not sure when that's going to be, just because I have a busy week and I'm not even sure when I'll be able to get a predictions video done. But there are a few possibilities, I think, especially for the women's match. We had Damian Priest come into the ring, and he cut a promo about Drew McIntyre, how he can't stand the guy, but appreciated the fact that McIntyre brought the Warrior to the cage match on Saturday night's main event. And then Priest turned his attention to Jacob Fatu. And he said he's proud of Fatu's accomplishments, but doesn't respect the crew that Jacob follows around. He left the ring. Fatu came out for his match, and we had a little brief face-off between Fatu and Priest. We then had Fatu versus Carmelo Hayes versus Andrade. Another good match here. Miz got wiped out fairly early on. He grabbed the foot of Fatu, and then Fatu ended up throwing the Miz into the barricade and then taking him out with the hip attack. And we never saw Miz again after this, which for some would be a big positive. They had a competitive match 3 ways, but then Fatu tried to do the hip attack to both guys into the barricade, but this time they moved and Fatu just crashed. I mean, he's all gas, no brakes, and he just absolutely destroyed the barricade. And then after the break, Fatu got back into the mix, but then we had Solo and JC coming out there, and Solo was barking orders after Fatu did the moonsault. He wanted to do a second moonsault. That's what Solo wanted, and Fatu was not happy with this. But then Jimmy Uso showed up, attacked JC. Carmelo sent Jacob Fatu out of the ring, but then Andrade took advantage and pinned Carmelo and officially advances into Money in the Bank. So Andrade's in it, and no, I do not think he's winning it, but he'll do some cool stuff in Money in the Bank. He's kind of like a modern-day John Morrison. He's never going to win the match, but you can count on him to do some cool moments in the Money in the Bank ladder match. Backstage, LA Knight, who's in the match, cut a promo, and he got interrupted by Aleister Black, who had a little brief cameo and just had to remind LA Knight that the win was partially his because Aleister Black did the move and it was Knight who took advantage of it. We'll see if these guys feud after Money in the Bank. Maybe that means LA Knight's not winning. We'll see. I mean, he still could win, and then Aleister Black could confront him. Maybe they could do a match where if LA Knight won, Aleister Black could have a match for the briefcase. You know, they could do that at some point. Backstage, Jacob Fatu was pissed off. Solo Sikoa was trying to calm him down, saying he was just trying to help. But Fatu made it clear for the last time he doesn't need Solo's help. We then had Cody Rhodes come into the ring for the final segment of the evening. And boy, did they stretch this one out. Like, this was at 10:40 that Cody was coming out there. So we had a good 20 minutes left of this show. He came out there. He reflected on his run with the WWE title since this was his first appearance on SmackDown without the championship. And he talked about how he hesitated at WrestleMania, but he will not hesitate with John Cena again. And then he revealed that he was not alone. He brought out the World Heavyweight Champion, main event Jey Uso. Jey came out there, and then we had our commercial break. After the break, Jey was doing his encore, but he was interrupted by John Cena. Nice way to actually get some heat. Have John Cena interrupt the encore, but he still got a lot of cheers nonetheless. Cena came out there, and guess what? Cena was also not alone. What a shocker. Both guys just happened to bring their tag team partner to this face-off. Wow. And Cena brought out Logan Paul. Cena called Logan Paul the only other guy who embodies hustle, loyalty, and respect. He said that Jey and Cody are professional wrestling's biggest wannabes. They're desperate and they're lazy. Logan called the people ungrateful, said he doesn't have to pay dues because he pays people's mortgages. Crowd was chanting, "Shut the F up." USA Network, of course, bleeping that. And he said that Jey Uso got lucky at Saturday night's main event. Logan said he's not a superstar. He's the superstar. And if Jey and Cody want some, come get some. Jey Uso was ready to fight. And then there was a little bit of a mishap between Cena and Logan. Logan did a little shove to Cena, and Cena did not like that. Cena shoved him. But then Cody got on the mic again and wanted to know what was up. And he said maybe they were going to go backstage and polish the Peacemaker. And at that point, a brawl erupted with all four guys. It was Cody and Jey that cleared the ring. They delivered the Cody, which is their version of the 1D, to Logan Paul. And then Cody picked up the WWE Championship. held it up as the show went off the air. So Cody and Jay got the best of Cena and Logan, but we do have one more SmackDown before Money in the Bank. Now, Building Nexus sent in a $2 super chat, so thank you for that, Building Nexus. I appreciate it. Building Nexus says, does Cena need Jay's belt to truly ruin wrestling? I mean, he could have it, get both titles, and then say he's going to retire both of them and leave wrestling as a double champion. He could. And they do have Crown Jewel coming up. I don't know if it's going to be title for title or if they're still going to do the champion versus champion match, but we'll see. All in all, I thought it was a decent segment, but it felt longer than it needed to be. And as I mentioned at the start of the stream, they did go into an overrun. It started at like 9:40 and then it was still going on up until like 10:03. We really did not need a segment this long. It was definitely dragging a bit, but I liked it for what it was. It did build up some intrigue in the match. All in all, going back to Caleb's comment from earlier, it was an okay SmackDown. I think it was a good SmackDown. Again, not great. It has been consistently decent, but I still think 3 hours is too much. And unfortunately, the word is that WWE will not be going back to 2 hours anytime soon. I feel like these shows drag out longer than they need to. It is a positive that they get more talent on the show and the matches are longer, but I still wish they would do more throughout the 3 hours to keep people hooked and keep them invested instead of just match, final segment, you get the main event guys. You know, they just follow that formula. You got to make it a little bit more unpredictable and have some show-long storylines. You know, you don't need a lot, but, you know, maybe 2 or even 3 storylines that start early on during SmackDown, and throughout the show you have little updates on it, and then there's a conclusion at the end. At least 2. Give me 2. They just need something to make the shows more intriguing from start to finish, and keep it interesting. I give it 6 out of 10. 6 out of 10. I did like it, but I have that issue with SmackDown. I just think it's too long. Same thing as Raw. And I feel like because it's a 3-hour show, they drag out segments longer than they need to be. Money in the Bank, though, should be a really fun show. The tag match will be entertaining. Money in the Bank matches. I'm kind of getting sick of the qualifiers, too. Like, all these triple threats, like, it's getting to be a little bit repetitive. I'm ready for it to be over. Anyways, guys, thank you all for tuning in tonight. I hope you enjoyed the recap. If you did, please give the video a thumbs up on YouTube. Stay tuned to NoDQ.com for the latest. And we got a new roundtable coming up this weekend. And then some point before Money in the Bank, there will be a predictions video. Stay tuned for that. Enjoy your weekend, everybody. Say yes to No DQ, and I will see you all next time.